A special discussion panel called What is the Truth About Islam and Muslims in America fights back 9/11 stereotypes on Islam. Bridges World News reporter Richard Concepcion has the story.
On January 18, a large crowd gathered in Washington, D.C. for a panel discussion entitled What is the Truth About Islam and Muslims in America? The event started out with a short video describing the post-9/11 hate speech that stereotypes Islam as a bloodthirsty religion.
Islam at this moment is responsible for more pain, more bloodshed, more devastation than nearly any other force on earth.
According to Harun Mogul, a fellow at the Columbia University Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, behind the stereotype that Islam is a violent religion are people who pick and choose the verses of the Quran out of context.
The problem that we get is that people take verses out of the Quran and then just assume that they must therefore hold for all time in all places. But if you look at the first statement in the history of Muslim just war theory, the first speech after the life of the Prophet's best friend, who's the leader of the Muslim community, goes in front of his troops and says, don't attack anyone deceitfully or treacherously. Don't harm civilians. Don't harm crops. Don't touch people in houses of worship or in monastic orders, right?
For Rabbi Mark Schneier, there is a need to challenge the moral double standards of people when it comes to reading the Quranic verses on violence as compared to reading verses on violence in the Bible.
Because if you read the Bible, you might think it's a very bloodthirsty book, right? An eye for an eye. The way the Jewish people were told to conquer the land of Israel. But there's a whole oral tradition in Judaism. And no one would dare to read the Bible without the oral tradition. So why do people choose to read the Quran without acknowledging, without recognizing that there is an oral tradition?
For one college student, this event was her first experience of a panel discussion that challenged the stereotypes that people in her hometown had about Muslims.
And I'm from a small town in Minnesota where Muslim isn't really mentioned or spoken of, and I guess we just rely on the stereotypes. And I'm so glad I came. I learned so much about the stereotypes and just more in general about this.
Reporting from Washington, D.C., Richard Concepcion, Bridges World News.